What year is it? What year isn't it? I mean, if you're still believing in time, my friend, I don't know what to tell you. You ever heard of the internet? Everything lasts forever on the internet, except MySpace photos. And if you had a Flickr Pro account. 2025, I'm still alive.
Well, I am ninja, he's ninja, she is ninja too. I am ninja, we are ninja, but I believe that you are ninja too.
Folks, I am a ninja. You are likely a nanja, meaning not a ninja. I live a very extreme lifestyle in every category. Family, missions, just hanging out with the juzz. I do everything at level infinity. So I'm just here to help you level up maybe just a little bit. Maybe like if you're, just to give you like a peek at peak performance. Last week I worked with a dentist. This week he's performing open brain surgery. I mean, that was kind of more of like a situation that he was forced into because I found myself in a situation where I'd accidentally removed I said DDS while the hood's up, went to get in there and clean a little of that brain plaque off. But the point is, he did it, whether he wanted to or not. Can ninjas get run over by cars? We can certainly get overrun by cars. That's why you've got to come down this weekend only to Chuck Ninja's Automobile Showcave in Shadowtown. I stole too many cars and they must go, go, go. I got a question for you. You seem like a dumb young fellow with a dim look in his eye. You seem like you would fall for anything. What do I need to do to put you in a car today? I like that 2023 M-Class. Perfect. I could fold you up like into a little square and shove you in the glove compartment. That would get you in that car. No, how about the 2019 Jeep? Well, I don't know. That thing's got low mileage, but let's see what I can do. I could like take you and do like a twisty, turny straw type thing and then ram you in the tailpipe. I could get you in that car today. You know what? Forget it. I'll just go with the 2025 Tesla. All right. I mean, if you want to take that type of risk. Musk, do ninjas turn 40? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on there. Be careful. 40 is not something you want to get too close to, my friend. I mean, just touching it could crush at least 80% of your dreams and evaporate a lot of things under the category of, can I still do that? If you have to turn it, please do it from a safe distance. Like use a bow staff or something, or like a chain tied to a manhole cover, or like a really heavy frisbee. But be careful. It is the leading cause of getting up from chairs grunts. Ninja, will we have another brat summer? Meg the leg, hang on to your sausage, because we are headed for Brat Grill Summer, which to be honest is much worse. It represents generation. Ugh. I mean, we still got a pack of cigs, Bic lighter, and a strappy white top with no bra. Except it's your dad. Moops. I hear Chuck Exiowski's got a new Charbroiled pellet kettle 650. Oh boy, the thought of them brats get me hats. I wouldn't mind killing some of that bassa. Brat Grill Summer. What is the average salary received by a ninja? Ninjas do not do anything average. Like triple extreme is the bare minimum for any ninja activity. As far as compensation, ninjas are typically paid in wisdom. There is a minimum sage, but you know what? These days, a lot of ninja work is for Hiya, which is the acronym HIYA, which is hyper-intelligencing your awesomeness. But you do not receive it. You have to steal it by sneaking into the brain of a cyclopic cloud named I Know. Of course, because our economy is thought-based, our banks run on interest, so if they get bored, you get bored. And a wild pig shooting through your belly? That can really put a damper on your life. Do ninjas say, Hiya? If not, what do they say when they karate chop someone? First off, I'm not sure you've been watching this channel very much. But typically, we do not say anything when we do anything. Except when I'm doing this, which is, Hiya! But in general, we live by the old saying, flying feet speak louder than words. Foot. Rather than dying by the old saying, hey guys, I'm over here. Wait a minute. Hold on. Why would a ninja be karate chopping anything? To ninjas, karate is like watching a Dune movie. It's slow, it's boring, and it makes you thirsty for some Chalamet. Am I right? Huh? Who's got a thing for adorable toothpicks? Joan Baez does, I'll tell you that much. Is the ninja community being affected by tariffs? Ninjas are way more affected by tear-offs. we have to pay an extra duty for every arm that we remove. Do you know how many arms I remove in a week? Especially international arms. It's pretty tough. What, am I not going to remove the tentacles of a June squid? I'm not supposed to rip off the angry appendages of an amacook or the creepy hands of a Hollywood producer? These are my massage hands. How does that feel? I'm going to go a little lower just because I feel some tension. My Hollywood producer massage space work. I hate to see the meme off of that. Wait a minute. I saved your butt from a hell-armed militia. Why am I on dragon poop patrol? You ever had to clean up dragon poop? You think the fire out of their mouth is tough. What are those things eating? Orcs? That's a dragon horde you do not want. If you were to teach yoga to a ninja, what would be the most lethal position? Accountant? Do you know how flexible your brain has to be in order to calculate the profit loss of self-realization? My balance sheet looks like if you combine like a dolphin, an eagle, and a cat. Ooh, a dolphin eagle cat? I mean, it's smart, it's fearless, and it doesn't give a scratch about anybody. One wrong shavasana and it can really sakasana, if you catch my kundalini. What's the hardest part about being a ninja? Let me see. I do have a pair of black diamond knee pads. Those are pretty hard, but they are conflict-free, so I can only wear them on my sneaky, stealthy, creeping missions. Oh, you know what? Once I had to battle a centaur. It's got the back end of a jackass, the middle of an elephant, and the top of a senator. Talk about hard. I was caught right between a kilobuster and the death ceiling. You touch that thing, complete life shutdown. Thankfully, I had my oversight with me, which let me slice off his ears, and then I held his hearing until his brains leaked out. What was the question? Oh yeah, the hardest part? The waiting. R.I.P. TP. I like that song. What's your advice on finding a new apartment? An apartment? No. That leaves you way too exposed. I highly suggest a togetherment. For example, I have plenty vision, which is more than I'll ever need. But the last place I lived was in plain sight. The hour before that, I was living in an A-hive, which is much nicer than a beehive. They got a pool. Right before that, I was dwelling in the middle of an elephant scream. Thankfully, I had my black noise machine with me. Look, basically, you just want to make sure that your lease includes life. Gotta have a lease on life. That you have enough street credit to get approved, and that you're in stalking distance of your next mission. Location. Did ninjas ever get into fights with their dads? Look, being a dadja is not a sneak in the park on either end of the nunchuck. But my pops always made time to battle with me to the brink of apathy. And I'm doing the same with my kids. You better bet that I keep a pouch full of shurikens with little passive-aggressive disappointments written on them that I whip at them. I just thought one of your missions might be to have dinner with the man who taught you how to defeat a triple-horned gene. Ouch, that hit my foot. You gotta make time for fights, especially with family. The family that fights each other fights together. Bring it in. Gotcha. Thanks for all the questions. I look forward to killing you soon. Musk. Raiders of the Lost Ark face.
When central power rules the game, when thoughts control in freedom's name, when the governed lose to government might, tell me who's got the wrong kind of right.
Good morning, everybody. Hopefully my sound is fixed. I played with it yesterday for about half an hour. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know if it's my man voice, the adjustments to the microphone, but if somebody can give me a 5x5, that would be super duper pooper scooper. I appreciate you. Also, hopefully you guys like that little bit of a waiting room music type video where I wanted to make sure that if I'm wasting your time or you're waiting on me, that you're at least entertained. That was the goal. And also, I'm blasting. Do I need to turn? Oh my God, I am blasting. Oh wow. Yeah, I'm like out of the yellow and into the red. Let me push this button over here. Is this better? Is this better? Loud and clear? Or did I turn it down too low? I'm at 0.78% now. So I'm just answer to the title. Yes, time to end the stream. Time to end the stream. Well, either way. I thought it was fitting because we're going to be talking about lurking around your neighborhood and the things that you should be looking for and the things to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So the general idea was, hey, let's have a little bit of fun with it. It popped into my feed. I was like, this will be perfect. Yeah. Stop yelling at me. You're not my real dad. I'm my supervisor. All right, I got to have a sip of my piping hot coffee. I've got to knock it out. And if you're, for those of you that don't know, I just want to make sure it's clear. YouTube will mess with the posts from time to time when if I turn them on more than 12 hours in advance, and that's exactly what they did today. So whether you like it or not a sponsor is first because he posted first. He was curious. He posted first at 7:48 p.m. last night. Followed by alrighty then. And oddly enough, Mrs. Sponsor. Mrs. Sponsor, for the first time, you are deterred. All right, so I don't even know if she's here or not. She's probably at work or some crap like that. But it is what it is. That's what it is. All right, so rolling through the rest of the chat, and looks like Rose is in the house. She thought she was the turd. You're not the turd today. You're right on time, Rose. West Virginia Pappy, good morning. Bradley Collins. Rose, there we go. Catitude. Got Debbie Chandler. We got Bullseye Ben is here, lurking from the VA. Pamlico Prepper, how's my yard? Is it soaking wet? Is it mush right now? Catitude. Good morning. Blaine Vogel, the winner of the EMP Shield Vehicle Device Giveaway. See the box? See the box? See the box? See, everything's backwards. It's so hard. See the box? It's got the label on it and everything already. It's going to go to the mailbox. It's going to the mailman as soon as I finish with this live stream. It's like a $400 value. You're welcome. Let's see here. Peter, shut up. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you back in the role. Light Raider is here. Thumbs down for the intro. Oh, you're breaking my heart, Light Raider. Ian says, good morning. We got Oops in the house. We got Tuck V, a chain of dad jokes. Yes. We got Oops in the house. Let's see here, loud and clear. My second life. Good to see you. Good to see you. Grumpy Acres Farm says, answer to the title. Yes, time to end the stream. Let's see here. Tuck liked it. We got who else? We got anybody else in here? Looks like everybody has commented. Ian says, at least I was a yes. Ian was number 3. And Pilgrim was number 2. Pilgrim, like, within minutes of that video dropping, Pilgrim's like, I'm number 2. That's nice. What do I need to do? And I was like, hold on, bro. We got a couple of personal messages from people. Just in case I won, here's my address. Which is cool, but you should not be doing that. Upset. All right, so this video was inspired by the fact that everyone has neighbors, and you gotta keep an eye. You gotta be like that prepper, like looking out your window, like what's he doing over there? Certain things to look for, certain things to pay attention. It's not all evil and nefarious, but it is something that we need to keep an eye on. We need to keep an eye on. So. Let's see. Pamlico Prepper says, not as much rain as they called for. My yard is almost dry. They're nice. I love it. Because, man, I tell you what, the weather there in North Carolina, after it rains and it just warms up to like 70 degrees, that grass will grow a damn foot in a day. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Okay. Matter of fact, I gotta go. I gotta go get the battery out of the lawnmower and start mowing Grandma's lawn. Yeah, that's always the best. That's always the best. Okay, so I'm monitoring a few things here and there. I don't know if anybody will pop into the X. I don't know if I can comment X or not, but I can see when somebody does. So I'm going to I have like dueling chats over here. We're going to try and see what happens. So, all right. Let's see. All I got in it was over 16 inches of rain. I know. I feel sorry for the people that were in the central United States. Those people got frickin' schwacked. One of the viewers was sending pictures from Missouri, I think, and it was just underwater. It's insane. It's insane in the membrane. Totally ridiculous. I mean, literally, just at some point, you probably need to build your house on pontoons, on a pontoon. You know what I'm saying? And that way, when it comes, you just kind of just build your house on pontoons, but like make it like a floating dock so that it's got the poles and it doesn't go anywhere. You know, and you just kind of keeps going up, and then you pray that it never gets that hot. But that's crazy. That's crazy, man. Okay, so chat's gone dead. So I'm going to get the party started. My grass grew overcast. I believe it. I believe it. All right, so I'm going to sip a little. Still house. There you go. 6.6 inches here in central Indiana. As I said before, I'm the swamp princess. We're here. Our yards are swampy even when it rains. That sucks. That's nasty. Um, oh no, there's a shortage of matcha. I don't know what's matcha. What is matcha? Who knows what matcha is? Despite the rain, we're still in a drought condition. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this, guys. And the title of this one is Why One Should Observe Neighbors Closely. Now, it's often said that no one thrives in isolation, particularly during challenging times. A sense of community provides invaluable during natural disasters, uh, pandemics, and catastrophic societal breakdowns. You know, however, proximity alone doesn't guarantee a neighbor's reliability. Ideally, one should assess their neighbors, assess their trustworthiness and their capabilities well before a crisis, ensuring a dependable network when survival demands or cooperation. Now, when I say that, what I'm talking about is we have a tendency to, just take your average American. He's got a neighbor to his left. He's got a neighbor to his right. He's got at least three neighbors, one, two, three, in front of his house. And we're just driving down the road, pulling into our driveway, and we have at least five neighbors. Are they close? Do we know them? What do we know about these people? Um, Green stuff I don't drink. Green tea. Overcast here, rain later for Lauderdale. Gotcha, Tuck. Gotcha. But in general, we don't know our neighbors as well as we should have. If I sound good at this distance, like I said, I played with some really weird adjustments on this microphone, and I really want it to be good for you guys. So if you could let me know how this sound is, I'm using basically like my small voice, and I'm trying to keep at least 1 hand's distance from the microphone. Let me know in the chat. All right, so it's always good to make sure that we not just know, but we understand our neighbors, because it's like playing poker. They'll have a tell. You will as well, and be aware of it. Be aware of it. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is something called the advantages of community. Now, while prepping fosters self-reliance, even the most prepared individual may need assistance in dire circumstances. Humanity's social nature, shaped by evolution, excuse me, underscores the value of collective support beyond mere companionship. What do those words mean? It means that, community itself, it means that we have to support each other. It means that um, your neighbors should be part of your process, in your preparedness process. They may not even know about it, but they should be in the back of your brain. Like, if something goes down, I'm going to go to Tommy and say, Tommy, here's the deal. Are you with me? And you should have a good idea of whether Tommy's going to balk or Tommy's going to be like, right on, man. Let me load up. Game on. You should know who this person is. Now, the truth is, the next thing is very important. Strength in numbers. A community of prepared individuals offers enhanced security. In a disaster, knowing neighbors will stand together bolsters safety. A neighborhood watch, already effective in stable times, becomes a formidable deterrent against threats when crisis strikes, discouraging outsiders from causing trouble. Now, this is a very strong statement, because one of the first things that I notice about neighbors is whether they offer to keep an eye on your property. it can go both ways. But for the most part, these are genuinely good people. And people are like, hey, man, let me know if you need anything, and let's keep an eye out for each other. You know, and that's generally a good sign that this person can be trusted to an extent, to what you know about that person. Um, the reality is the rule of 10-80-10. 10% of the people in the world are going to be stellar performers. They're going to be rocket scientists. They're going to be Elon Musks. The other 80% are just going to be average schmoes who are just trying to get along and don't want anybody messing with their stuff. The other 10% are going to be scumbags. So you got an 80 percentile chance that your neighborhood is actually a halfway decent person who's willing to give you a call if he sees something that is out of place. Okay, so keep that in mind. Also, I forgot. I don't know if anybody said anything to me. Let me go to the chat here real quick here. Sounds like slightly distorted, but good. Okay. My second life says I have two neighbors in a mile of me. One set are elderly, bleeding heart liberals. The others are young loudmouths. So we don't talk to about them. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that sucks. That sucks. They're probably going to be the first ones to show up at your house asking for help when something goes down. Rose says, sorry, but I like my tea like my coffee black with no additives. Good for you, Rose. Let's see here. Right, Rose says, my second life, introduce them to one another. There you go. Trabowski, what's going on, Broseph? Don't know what's worse, old cranky liberals or young, loud, and annoying. The younger ones can influence possibly. Yes, they have a sponge brain. They can be influenced. My second life says they know each other and they hate them. Grumpy says, good rule of thumb: past performance dictates future expectations. Very true. Very true. Let's see here. That's the hope. Attitude says, I have felon pastor neighbor who does my like law, and our other neighbors are friends who are ex-Navy with arsenal and large free. Ah, I see. I see. Ian says, have high turnover with three neighbors. Don't get time to meet them before they go. Yeah, that sounds like that's unfortunately when you have a high turnover, that's either plant work where they're hiring and firing, or it's a bad neighborhood. But hey, it is what it is, Ian. Stay strong. Stay strong. Okay, I forgot. I'm gonna fix it right now, guys. Let me scroll. Let me scroll up here to the top of the notes. I forgot. I forgot. I can't believe nobody called me out on it, but that's okay. I still love you. Let's see here. I'm going to right here. Got to create a poll. I got a poll for you, man. I got a poll. I got a poll. No, I'm not gonna go. I'm not going down that road. That that didn't sound right. That didn't sound right. Man, I can't see this keyboard's just not bright enough. V enter copy paste conversations copy paste start poll. All right, so I got a poll out there. You guys can play right now if you want to, but as usual, you know how this goes. Who's in top chat? I'm not in top chat. Let's see here. So what do we got here? The poll is: what's the best way to assess neighbors for a survival community? Let's see here. Right now, 100% say engage in direct conversations, and the other answers are check their recycling bins, observe their lawn maintenance, listen to their arguments. So that will fill out as we go along. As usual, people either change their mind or they start thinking to themselves, yeah, that's it. That's it. Let's see here. Found out recently that they are safe houses. Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. Well, strong police presence. So make sure you're a do-gooder. You're a good doer. You're a do-gooder. All right. Let's go here. Be a good neighbor and hit the thumbs up. There you go. Am I lacking thumbs up? Because I don't look at that stuff while I'm live streaming, to be honest with you guys. So hit that thumbs up. It does help. It does help. All right, so go on to the next one. So good neighbors make for easy bartering. You know, um, during a crisis, trading with strangers can be fraught with risk a little bit. Yet unforeseen needs often arise, requiring resources others possess. And remember, if you borrowed your neighbor's hammer and didn't give it back, they're going to remember. So familiarity with neighbors established through prior vetting eases these exchanges, reducing tensions and fostering fair negotiations for mutual benefit. Basically, it's easier to barter with your friends. Simply stated, you're not going to screw them over, and they know you're not going to screw them over. But if they know you're shifty or you know they're shifty, then be aware. Be very, very aware. Let's see here. Four choices, all potential insults. Oh, scared. What do we got? What did Blaine say? My neighbors are old, and the next ones are my parents. Be a good neighbor and hit the thumb. There we go. Find out the recent. There we go. All right. So we're good to go on the chat. We're good to go on the chat. All right. So the next one, and I know I'm moving kind of fast here because I have a lot of them, but please feel free to put something in the chat when you've got something to say. Always good to know who they are. There you go, Blaine. There you go. All right. So the next thing is shared labor. Now, transitioning to a sustainable lifestyle involves demanding tasks, such as constructing shelters or preparing land for farming. These projects will often overwhelm a single person or even a family. In a cohesive community, collective efforts lightens the load. For instance, neighbors would assist with one's project in exchange for help with theirs, saving time and energy. It's kind of like, hey, Bob, I'm putting a fence up this weekend. Can you give me a hand? Yeah, sure, no problem. Oh, yeah, that's great. Because next weekend, I'm going to be putting up a shed. Oh, man, I'll definitely be there. You see what I'm saying? It's the opposite of mutually assured destruction. You'll find this one of the biggest ones that I've seen is, and Grumpy can attest to this, and you don't have to, bro. But the that group that's up there in Kansas, those guys are helping each that have like no leader. That group is like freaking got like, hey, we're putting up a barn. Roger that. Everybody grabs their tool belts. You know what I'm saying? It's absolutely amazing what's going on up there. Let's see here. Tool bag lined out. Rose is saying tool bag lined out and uh, supposedly supposedly returned. He said placed under a car. Why not the door? Yeah, right. I know, right? Well, if it sounds like a goose and it moves, you know what I'm saying? If he sounds like a liar and he acts like a liar and he smells like a liar, well, he must be telling the truth. I mean, right? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I need to take a sip of coffee. My throat is doing some weird stuff here. All righty, let's do this. Still waiting on a barn. I gotcha. All right, so let's talk about something called less dependence on personal resources. Now, undependent neighbors may lean heavily on others during a crisis, and that's going to drain resources. By knowing neighbors in advance, one can subtly encourage their preparedness, ensuring that they're self sufficient when disaster hits. Such neighbors may so offer unexpected skills or supplies when challenges arise. Yeah. It's kind of like you never truly know somebody until you know them. Very quick story. Uh, Brother-in-law hired this guy. He seemed to be like on the up and up. Actually, it wasn't my brother-in-law; it was a friend of mine. He hired this guy and to work in his HVAC company, and he hired him. He thought he was just going to be like the lowest level laborer there was, and he started at that. And then on the first day, he starts working and he starts saying all this stuff like he knew the lingo, he did all he was speaking all the terminology, and he's like, whoa, hey man, what's going on here? And he's like, oh well, I used to do this. And he like never even told him. He just thought he was just this, he was going to be the tool getter. Boom. And so next thing you know, the kid's got his own freaking crew. He's doing amazing work for the company, and all because you don't know somebody until you know that person, until you meet him and have a conversation with him and like talk about a few things in details. Maybe it even let's have a smoke out back, or hey, let's get a beer tomorrow, or hey, let's just eat lunch together, something like that. Girls, that's coffee during lunch, that kind of thing. But you don't know until you know. Let's see here. Discreetly evaluating your neighbors is also a skill you should be looking at. Judging neighbors' reliability requires more than casual chats. Observing subtle cues about their habits, their skills, and character helps identify who to trust or avoid in a crisis. Several discrete methods can reveal these insights. Interesting. I'm going to go to it looks like 100% engage in direct conversation. That's the question. What's the best way to assess neighbors for a survival community? 100%, 100%. That'll be interesting to see if it stays that way. Going to the chat. Let's see here. What do we got here? My good neighbor, four choices. LP, what are your top 5 barter items to have on hand? Jim Bowski, what's going on, Broseph? Let's see, top 5 barter. Well, I hate to say it, but the top 3 are always the best 3. It's water, food, and security. It's always going to be the same way. Somebody shows up on your doorstep, you give them a bottle of water, they can be your friend for life because they probably don't have any. Food because they're hungry. When people are starting to barter, they're not like, hey, I'm doing great, but I really need a drill. That's not how bartering starts. You know what I'm saying? Bartering starts when someone's like, hey, I got a pocket full of nuts. I'm really thirsty. You know what I'm saying? So I always start with water, food, and security. Would I give somebody a gun? Probably not, but I might give them some bullets as long as they weren't carrying their gun. But and then after that, I would say probably skills. Probably skills, manpower. You help me, I'll help you. I would say that would probably be number 4. And then after that, I would say we're probably in the tobacco, alcohol, vices area. Oh, by the way, don't push caution to the wind if the very first thing they ask for is tobacco or alcohol, because that means that they're undisciplined and unprepared. Let's prepare warrior. Good morning, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see here. It's good to be a gopher. Here you go. Hey, listen, man. Everybody's got to start someplace. And those gophers, if they learn fast, they aren't gophers for very long. That's for sure. Let's see here. No bullets to spare. Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be really surprised. It really depends on what it is. If a guy says, "Hey, I need some bullets for my 9mm for self protection," where are you staying? You might want to ask a lot of damn questions. Debbie's got to go to work. Debbie, have fun at work. That's a 4-letter word I'll never have to say again. Hopefully not. I don't know. I've contemplated taking a job in a couple of places. I've had a couple of offers. I've had to be like, rawr, rawr. I like working for myself now. Let's see here. Grumpy says alcohol, women's makeup, food, water, filtration, sweets. Sweets. A lot of people don't think about sweets. A lot of people don't. And I mean, technically, that's kind of a vice. You know what I'm saying? You don't need that sweet thing after supper, but a lot of people love it. You know what I'm saying? And then women's makeup food or women's makeup. I guess it would depend on the crisis. I guess it would really depend on the crisis, but still all viable things. The bottom line is people want things, people need things, and if you've got them, then you can barter with them. It's that easy. It's that easy. You'll get something for something. Otherwise, it's not a good barter. It's not a good trade. All right, let's see here. One more, and then we'll go to the halftime stuff. So, something else that you can do is actually watch their recycling bins. Okay. Open recycling bins offer a glimpse into a neighbor's lifestyle beyond recycling habits. They reveal consumption patterns. Frequent alcohol containers may suggest substance abuse. I know some women that During the daytime, they are like very nice to be around. But you don't want to be around in the evening because they'll go through a couple bottles of wine. I know these people. It's very interesting that it's commonplace. So it's all about dealing with them at the right time. Anyway, so frequent alcohol containers may suggest substance abuse or even enabling dynamics. Signaling potential unreliability or indiscretion in tense times. Basically, if someone says, I need a drink, that means that they're not actually focused on solving a problem. So, also, observing bins during pickup times provides this insight without invasive measures. Walking the dog. Maybe you walk your dog and you go past somebody's bin because you know damn well why. And I don't understand if they really want us to recycle so much. Why aren't the recycle bins bigger? Why are these little things like this deep and that long and maybe this wide and they're like something you would slide in on a shelf or something and it's like what am I supposed to do with this? What exactly am I supposed to do with this? It's crazy. Let's see here. God's prepared warrior says community is important, especially when you have someone who can help with the skills I don't have. Very true. Absolutely true. Uh, the smell will tell. Yes, that's true. The sweets could be a good reward for kids in SH. Absolutely. Absolutely. And West Virginia Pappy says alcohol, tobacco, meds, produce, fresh game. Everything is a viable. Anything, it's all about what people want. You know what I'm saying? Especially, whatever you're offering, that's how barter works. If you don't have anything if you're not offering anything they want, then they walk away. That's the way it works. Tuck says, I know at least one neighbor doesn't have jumper cables, an extension cord, or a battery charger jumper because I knew that. I knew you were going to say that, Tuck. I knew you were going to end your sentence with those words before I even got to them. But here's the thing. Your logic is flawed because they clearly do have them now. That's potential spam. I don't know why he keeps calling me. Uh, let's see here. Rose says women's makeup is a plus. I used to work with so many gals that wouldn't come to work in surgery until makeup on. Knew I'd be there for 30 minutes on my own getting ready. Ah, I see. I see. You gotta stay pretty for surgery. That is a must. That's a must thing in a crisis situation. Ah, once again, it's all about what people want. It's all about what people want. All right, guys. It's that time. It's that time. If you love your country, put a number one in the chat. America. I'm going to drink some coffee. I'm going to talk some smack. I'm going to read you some stuff and I'm going to educate you because that's the type of channel this is. And I've got a little bit of a change up for you. Something you need to know. All right. So, guys, I've got the parcel safety window up for a reason. So I got an email yesterday, believe it or not, from safety saying, "Hey man, you haven't like sold any of our stuff in a while, and we'd really like to reconnect with you." And I was like, you know what? I could ignore them. I could do a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? But you guys know, I mean, you don't have to be brutally honest with somebody to be honest with them. Um, yeah, but we are behind a mask for hours. I got you, Rose. Well, if you're behind a mask for hours, then we don't need to see your face. We just need to see your. Oh, I see. You got to do the eye stuff. So you're like, oh. But anyway, getting back on point, guys. So I sent them an email. I replied to their email. And this is what I replied. This is exactly what I said. I said, and I'm not going to say this person's name because they use their real names. I said, thank you for reaching out. I haven't promoted Mira for over a year because it's too expensive. My focus for my followers is to only promote products that are the best and at a reasonable price point. And then this person was like saying, we'd really like you to promote the CM 8M mask. Okay, I guess it's one of their newer ones because it's got a higher number. And so I looked at it and I was thinking, hey, this might be a deal. People might want to know about this. And no, it's not. So the mirror safety CM8M is $324 without a filter. Without a filter. It's a CBRN mask. It's made for chemical warfare. It pretty much does everything, right? And so I went over to Parcel and I found a comparable mask. And so the Parcel Safety NB100 is only $199, and it comes with a CBRN filter. Guys, that's between a $50 and $70 value, just the filter. All right. And I replied. I continued. I said, I can only hope that I'm the first to bring this to your attention. Meaning, if you probably know your stuff is too expensive. Um, it's also important to remember that I don't care about how much I personally make, because they were like, we'd like to give you more money to sell our stuff. I said, I care about how much I can save my followers. I hope this helps. Respectfully, my real name and AKA local prepper, how I always fill out these requirements or these things. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I think it's important that if you're going to go after something, that you get top quality and you get, or should I say, the best quality possible for the price point, and that you save money. Okay, and that's one of the reasons that I have Parcel Safety on my fast buttons to bring these to you. And 20% off is nothing to laugh at. A lot of these Parcel Safety is busting up these big companies, these big gas mask companies, because they're offering the same thing those other companies are offering at probably 66%. All right. It's not one third the cost, but maybe 66 or two-thirds the cost. Okay. It's crazy. I mean, and the thing is a gas mask is a gas. If does it have protective rubber? Yes. Is the windshield able to help you see? And theirs doesn't even have that 120 field of view. You know what I'm saying? It actually was like one of those. It's like, and that's stupid. I did that forever with the M17s in the military. It was dumb. It was freaking dumb. Anyway, so guys, if you're gonna get a gas mask, go to Parcel Safety. There's a link in the description for all the gear I like. Click that, roll to Parcel. Don't forget to use code Local Prepper. And I think Parcel actually gives the most percentage off of any of the companies that I work with. So, guys, take a look at it. It's on you. Be adults. I'm going to go back to the main now. All right. So once again, I just wanted to share that with you. Yeah, I thought it was perfect because it's the way I do business. It's the way I do business. So let's see here, Jim Bowski. That price is ridiculous. Yes, it is. It is ridiculous. The Mira Tapper, 46 camper. Here's the thing. Mira makes very good products. They make very good products. I would even say that they're probably top of the line. They're top of the line. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. If you want to go 100 miles an hour, do you pay for a Ferrari or do you pay for a Corvette? Do you pay for a Corvette or do you pay for a Mustang? They all will get to 100 miles an hour just fine, okay? But you see what I'm saying? There's got to be a balance, and that's what I'm always looking for. That's what I'm always looking for. So, 46 camper, if that's what you're into, a Parcel Safety is the company to go to. I do have hold on. I do have others like this one. This one was like $35 on Amazon, and it will work. It will work. But it's kind of Barney. It's kind of Barney. It's kind of ratchet. It'll work. It'll work. But when you compare them to the quality of the Parcel Safety stuff, it's a different monster. It's a completely different monster. All right. So, and those that aren't there for the sale. Those are there. That's like my ready grab. We can grab them, that kind of thing. All right. So, with that said, what we got? K-Kim being one of the products. Most YouTubers won't do that. They just blow smoke up your bum without. K-Kim, did you look at the way you wrote that? I don't know why I would look up. I don't know why I would want to look up into your bum. Who knows? Maybe it's a cute butt. I don't know. Anywho, yeah, I'm tracking with what you're saying. I'm tracking what you're saying, K Kim. Yeah, that's just the way I roll. It's that easy. All right, so no more, Mr. Nice Guy. Right. We drink some coffee. Let's see here. Oh shit! That is a Costco trip. I don't know what that. I don't know what that is. Good morning, everyone. Let's see here. The kick ass. There we go. I'm looking into a gas mask. All right. So I've been checking into the parcel CS100. I'm not sure if that's the one I have. I think that is. Hold on a second here, because I will tell you right now whether it's good or not. Parcel safety. Oh, let's see here. Parcels. Come on here. That's Mir, and of course, Mir is paid to be first on the list. If I type in parcel safety, Mir safety comes up. Anyway, so let's see here. Where are we at here? We're gonna go to bestsellers. Let's go to bestsellers. Um, let's TX100. And you were what? You were looking at the CS100. Um, CS100. The CS100. Ah, okay, so I'm gonna divert here for a second, 46 camper, because you're clearly interested. So here's the thing. All of these gas masks that have the chemical warfare, the NBC filters on them, I would ask you to look at what the real threat is. You only need that type of filter for chemical warfare. Okay. Um, I was referring to the third. No, I knew what you were saying, K Kim. I knew what you were saying. I just had to have fun with you because it was cute. Let's see here, but you the this I mean, and the price difference is substantial. It's substantial. So you're going from you could literally go with. I always recommend people get the PD 100. Okay, and okay, so this is the PD 100. That second one I showed you. Let me put this flip back on here. I do like the quick releases on these. Um, I always recommend the PD 100. All right. And the reason I do is because these filters, okay, these filters right here are actually organic filters. So these filters would protect you if you are, say, like a train crashes and there's all these toxic chemicals floating in the air. These will protect you. You don't have to have the massive filters. Here, you don't have to have these massive filters. They're $70 a piece. Okay. So I always recommend the PD 100. All right. And the PD 100 is only $99.97 without my code. And if you want more filters, yeah, if you want extra filters, which I do recommend, they cost almost, I think they're like 20 or $30 for a second set of filters. There's nothing to it. Nothing to it. So that's what I recommend people do. I don't recommend anybody buys these NBC gas masks, these like full up military chemical warfare gas masks, because I don't see anybody hitting us with nerve agents or nerve, blood, or blister agents. I don't see that happening. You know what I'm saying? But hey, you're an adult. You spend money where you want to. You do you. Okay. All right. I've said my 2 cents. I am done speaking my 2 cents now. What Bradley got to take off? Bradley's off to a meeting. 20. Let's bump those numbers. Got to run, catch up. All right. And I might do another live stream later on today. I've got some political stuff that I want to talk about. People seem to like that when I do that in the afternoon, so I might do that. Okay, so let's get back on point here. I'm going to sip a little coffee. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, so the next thing you might want to do is listen to their arguments. Now, in close-knit neighborhoods, overhearing disputes is very common. Occasionally, disagreements, perhaps over finances or family issues, are normal. However, frequent abusive or manipulative language raises concerns about a neighbor's tendency to dominate others, a trait that could complicate cooperation during a crisis. Basically, if the guy's a bully, you aren't going to want him to be around you, your family, your friends, anything like that, because at some point he'll decide that he needs more food, or he needs more drink, or he needs more of your supplies, and at which time you're going to have to show him your shovel. And so just kind of trying to avoid that is probably the smartest thing to do. He should probably know that he's not welcome, that you won't do anything to him, but he's not welcome. It's just the smarter way to deal with people like that. Let's see here. What's your name? It says train crashes, wildfire, industrial accidents, most likely. Yeah, well, that's far more likely than chemical warfare. That's true. That's true. Let's see. Yeah, the only thing you got to watch out for is, believe it or not, smoke. Most of these filters, even the NBC filter, will not filter out smoke. There's something about it. You actually need like a smoke filter. Um, but the filters go on and off in a heartbeat, so it's just that easy. Um, Second Life says maybe you should have put follow their Facebook page as an option on the poll. That's pretty ingenious. That's pretty ingenious. My Second Life. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. But the poll only lets me do like 4 things. But that's still a freaking awesome idea. That's an awesome idea. Let's see here. Oddly enough, one of the things you can do is watch the state of their lawn. A yard's condition reflects more than aesthetics. It's a hint at the neighbor's discipline and time management. An overgrown lawn may suggest procrastination or disorganization, potentially indicating unreliability in group efforts. Kind of one of those guys. Oh yeah, that kind of a grown man who has the mentality where their dad tells him to take the trash out, and he doesn't immediately get up and do it because he's got better things to do. I was going to do it. You know what I'm saying? That kind of mentality. Now, conversely, a well-maintained yard or garden points to proactive habits and possibly prepping instincts, more kind of making someone capable of leadership. So it's hard to tell, but these are little insights that you can use to figure things out. Now, uh, what you should, okay, so now we're getting into the stalker stuff, right? So one of the things you can do is watch their lights in their windows at night. Kind of casually noting the neighbor's nighttime activities without prying. It kind of reveals their priorities. Excessive screen time, particularly on video games, may indicate escapism or avoidance of the real world challenges. It kind of suggests limited reliability in a crisis. Other activities like reading or crafting might highlight useful skills or shared interests. Something else you can do is kind of notice how they maintain their car. Neighbors who handle routine car maintenance, such as oil changes or tire rotations, demonstrate practical skills and responsibilities. Those tackling complex repairs like brake replacements possess valuable mechanical expertise for crisis scenarios. Conversely, neglecting car care may reflect a lack of technical ability or foresight, requiring more support in emergencies. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take. Oh, we got a number. It changed. It changed. The number changed. So we got 22 votes. The question is, what's the best way to assess neighbors for a survival community? 95% say engage in direct conversation. 5% say check their recycling bins, and the rest are zeros. Observe lawn maintenance and listen to the arguments, which is cool. I'm going to go to the chat now. Let's see here. Who wants to go to the gravel festival? The gravel festival? I don't know what that means. Grumpy says, like if an oppressive government tear gassed your home. Yes, those will stop tear gas if you're talking about those masks. Let's see here. That's far more likely than chemical warfare, train crashes, wildfires. Maybe you should. Okay, My Second Life. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. There you go. Got to do a little bit of that civent. Rose says many may not have well manicured yard, but can eat from my yard. No chemicals used. There you go. I like it. I like it. Yeah, a lot of people, and it's funny too because um, a lot of like the grow preppers, their backyards look like somebody haven't mowed them in like 50 years. But what's that's really doing is because it's not well manicured, it's actually camouflaging all of the food that they're growing in amongst all that high grass. Not a joke. I've seen it before. There's one down the street. Not sure why they do it like that, but they do it like that. Why is my phone doing weird things? There it is. My phone is doing weird things. Um, okay, so carrying on. Let's see here. Do me a favor, guys. Wake up the chat. Throw number one in there. If you like to breathe air, if you think air is the best in the world for you, it'll kind of wake up the chat a little bit. My chat rate's a little low. I got to depend on you guys to keep things going. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is the hoarder. Hoarding often masks is often masked as preparedness. And these guys possess challenges. Now, piles of clutter or unsanitary collections reveal psychological barriers that hinder cooperation. Hoarders, resistance to change or collaboration can frustrate community efforts, making them less dependable despite their claims of readiness. Guys, I know a person like this. Um, uh, I won't say that they're a hoarder. I will say that they are very, um, they don't have a positive term for it, but let's just say when their friend went into their house, basically there was just a can there was they have a spot on the couch where they sit, and they live alone, and around them, literally around their bodies, was a pile of plates, food bags, beer cans, things like that. I mean, it was just weird. And this is the kind of person, and this guy is a genuine, very loving guy. Okay, I know him personally, but this is not the kind of guy that you would want to be in your group because he's not dependable. He's not dependable. He needs everybody to take care of him, and that's a problem. So, before we get into the recommendations, let's go ahead and conclude the things we have talked about, and talk. It's While personal preparedness is crucial, a supportive community enhances survival odds in desperate times. Now, collective strength, mutual defense, and shared labor amplifies one's resilience. However, not every neighbor warrants trust. Observing signs of unreliability, such as substance abuse or rigid mindsets, helps identify potential liabilities while recognizing skills like mechanical aptitude or adaptability highlights valuable allies. By carefully selecting community patterns, one can build a network that thrives under pressure. Now, as usual, we're going to talk about some expanded recommendations that kind of goes over what we just talked about, but gives you some better ideas. We're going to try and apply this advice effectively, uh, and balance caution with community building through some deliberate ethical steps. And we're also going to explain these recommendations, each with some detailed guidance to foster a resilient neighborhood network. So before we do that, I'm going to go to the chat. Let's see here. Mostly it's just ones, and that's okay. Um, may not have. Let's see here. Build up an orchard and berry bushes at my new property out in the woods. I love it, Blaine. I love it. Build one of those food fortresses. It's basically how one type of food protects the other from the varmints. Let's see here. Client number two, the client has gas. I got you. Tuck says, that's not hoarding, extreme uncleanliness. Pretty sad, both conditioned. Yes, unfortunately, it's very true. There's also a house that's about 3 or 4 streets over that literally, like, the front yard is full of, like, tires. I mean, the guy's just got, like, you can see where, like, the guy has a system in his brain for piling stuff, but he really reminds me of Fred Sanford. It's just very unsightly on a tiny town, small, side road. He really needs to think about, like, maybe putting up a privacy fence, and having his shit in the backyard. That's what he really needs to do. But that's not happening. That's none of my business. That's none of my business. All right. So first things first, let's talk about engaging directly with neighbors to build relationships. This was the looks like the number 2 thing in the chat. It's still at 96% with 23 votes. Now, instead of relying solely on observation, initiating personal interaction lays a stronger foundation for trust. Hosting a block party or joining a community garden or even organizing a disaster preparedness workshop creates opportunities to learn about neighbor skills, values, and temperaments. For example, a casual barbecue might reveal who's handy with tools or knowledgeable about first aid without the need to for covert monitoring, and even regular engagement, such as checking in during holidays or offering help with small tasks, builds rapport over time. This approach not only identifies reliable allies, but also fosters goodwill, encouraging neighbors to participate in a crisis. To start, one might invite a few neighbors. I'm saying that wrong. One might invite a few nearby households for a low pressure gathering, asking open ended questions about their hobbies or emergency plan to gauge preparedness. When we started this, what I tell you, every American basically has 5 neighbors. You know what I'm saying? The ones to the left or right on the street they live, and the 3 that are across the street. So that's 5 neighbors, 5 neighborhood families. So maybe you could start there. Okay. Who put 222 in 223? That's a silly question. I don't know the answer to that. All right. So the next thing that we're probably going to need to expand on is um, you need to try and observe the contextuality of avoiding misjudgments. Basically, is it's not, what is it? It's not the cover, it's the book. Now, while we've suggested that indicators like lawn care or article or recycling bins could be interpreted with nuance to avoid unfair assumptions, a neglected yard might stem from health issues or financial strain, not laziness. While gaming could be a harmless hobby rather than escapism. When observing, one should consider a broader context, perhaps noting whether a neighbor's behavior aligns with their circumstances. Kind of like, a single parent's cluttered garage may reflect time constraints, not disorganization. Now, combining observations with conversations provides clarity. For instance, asking about a neighbor's garden could reveal their expertise or struggles. This balanced approach ensures judgments are fair and informed, preserving potential alliances. One might also keep a mental checklist of observed traits, but revisit it periodically to account for new insights gained through direct interaction. So, once again, it's not about the cover, it's about the book. It's about the book. West Virginia Pap, you put in the chat. Direct conversations works with Gen X or older, not sure about the young ones. Oh, the young ones, it has a tendency to go in one ear and out the other, but some of them are listening. Some of them are listening. And I can tell you that millennials are slowly turning into have the same mentality as Gen Xers. So that's something that you should keep in the back of your brain, housing group. The next thing is you also want to promote preparedness within the community. Encouraging neighbors to prepare for emergencies strengthens the entire community without compromising personal resources. You know, maybe you should, a general tip, I guess you could say, such as assembling a basic emergency kit or starting a small garden through casual conversation or maybe a neighborhood newsletter. For example, suggest a group purchasing bulk supplies, kind of like water filters or seeds. It makes prepping accessible and collaborative. Subtly identifying who's proactive Organize, and we all have friends. Well, that's a great idea. That's the guy who's going to be proactive. Maybe organize a community drill like a mock power outage response. It's going to reveal neighbors' readiness and fosters teamwork. Importantly, one should avoid disclosing their full stockpile to maintain operational security, focusing instead on universal advice. A practical step might be, uh, I don't know, distributing a single checklist of female recommended supplies, sparking discussion about preparedness without judgment. Basically, it's got FEMA's name on it, so they're not going to be like judging you. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't make this checklist yourself. You're not the crazy nutbag prepper. You're just the guy passing out the flyers. Let's see here. Rose says, become a good listener. Don't take sides. Try to redirect to find out what the real problem issue is. Very true. Freedom Nugget, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, bro. I live next to the most dangerous people. They have no prep or skills, but they have a small kid. It happens. It happens. I've lived in all sorts of neighborhoods. It definitely does happen. Time to sip a little hot coffee. It's the best. All right, let's see here. Get back on there, coffee. Get back in your spot. All right, so the next one is going to be build trust gradually through small acts. Now, trust develops through consistent reciprocal actions rather than immediate reliance. Um, Start with minor collaborations like lending a tool. Careful about that. You may never see them again, but like lending a tool, sharing garden produce, or helping with a home repair. Test neighbors' reliability in low stakes settings. For instance, offering to split some firewood with a neighbor might show their work ethic and willingness to cooperate. These interactions are going to build a track record. It's going to help you identify who follows through versus who makes excuses. Over time, successful exchanges can scale to larger projects such as neighborhood watch or shared storage plan. To implement this, you might propose a small group project like clearing a shared pathway, and observe the neighbors, how they contribute. Using the experience to prioritize closer ties with dependable individuals. Now, with all that said, I usually get my tools back. Yeah, you don't want to let that one sit too long. That's basically when you let that one sit too long, you're basically telling your neighbor that either you don't care about your tools or that it's okay to keep them. That's really what you're doing. People with kids will be more desperate. They will. They will, Freedom Nugget. All right, guys. So that is the end of the stream. Looks like we have some changes. I'm going to go back to, if you got something you want to put in the chat right now is the time to do it. We're at 24 votes, and 92% say engaging in direct conversations. 8% say checking their recycle bins. If you got something you want to put in the chat, now is the time to do that. Let's see. Freedom Nugget says communities that get along will last. Yes, 100%. Even if you have a bad neighbor that lives down the road, or maybe you got the crotchety old fart says, "Get off my lawn, you kids!" Even if you got those, they're okay. But it's funny too because people form opinions, but they normally form opinions based off of other people's operandi, their modus operandi, the way they're acting. And let's face it, even if you don't know something about somebody, you can't really label them. But once you've done something bad, then you've done something bad. Everybody knows in the neighborhood who's got the bad kid. You know what I'm saying? So use those skills. Use those skills. It's that easy. Let's see here. Grumpy says, in the end, treat your neighbors politely and as potential allies and have a plan to unalive them. Yes, that's old school rule 21 of gunfighting. I think it's like rule 6 now. They changed that. They changed all the rules. They rewrote our history, Grumpy. Rose says, have problems with people that interject their attitude and try to create trouble when you are giving calm instructions to your children. Oh, yeah. Just Those are the people you just move along with your hands. Okay, guys, that's going to be about it for today. I may go live again later on this afternoon once I take care of a couple of chores. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'm glad the sound thing has kind of gotten better. Um, let's see. That's going to be about it. That's going to be about it. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up on the way out the door. It's free and it's good for me. So stay safe. Have a great day, and I shall see you when I see you guys. Bye bye.